Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the SoCap Improv Comedy Podcast. My name is Ralph McLeod. I am the owner and artistic director of the SoCap Comedy Theater in Toronto, Ontario. And this show is about improv and my experiences with improv as a teacher and a performer going on to like my third or fourth decade or eighth decade. I don't know. A long time. So the SoCap is it's SOCAP.ca. That's the URL. And we're at 154 Danforth Avenue above the Black Swan Tavern. We do improv shows. We do improv classes. We also have stand-up shows, and we don't do stand-up classes though. We focus on improv as when we teach. We have drop-ins. We have regular classes, all kinds of stuff. And this podcast is primarily about improv and why should you care? Why should I take improv if I don't want to be the next Tina Fey? There's a multitude of reasons. And today's episode, we're going to get into that. But first of all, every episode has a sponsor. Every podcast has a sponsor. Now, just want to remind you of today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Wexler's Beef. Wexler's Beef. Our hands are in your mouth. That's there you are. Oh, I forgot to start my timer because I don't want to go on talking forever. I mean, I do, but you don't want that. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about the first improv rule for life. You know, everybody writes these books about rules for life. Here's one: the improv rules for life. So why should someone take improv if you're not going to be a performer? And one of the things that improv allows you to do is to role play situations in a way that's safe. You know, you can get on stage in an improv class and you can scream at people and it's safe. It's like going to a zoo and seeing a wild animal, a deadly animal behind bars. Seeing a tiger or a lion behind iron bars is fascinating. Take away the iron bars, it's terrifying. And in the same way, you can do it improv. You can go up and do scenes and be a narcissist or play scenes with a narcissist. You know, if you don't have children, you can play a parent. If you had a great relationship with your parents, you can play a scene where you have a shitty relationship with your parents. So it allows that to happen. And you can role play situations, but you can also learn some very valuable lessons, again, in a safe way, in a way that you can try these things out in that way and then take them out in the real world. And today's rule of life, I shouldn't say the word rule, well, I don't like that word generally because it implies that you have to do things a certain way. But what this rule is about, I said it again, is control what you can control. There's a lot of philosophy and psychology in improv, especially the way that I teach it and present it. And one thing about improv is to do it well, you have to like stop trying to control everything, like your scene partner. We all typically want our scene partner to act certain ways, say certain things, and then we have to be A-okay, not even okay. If they don't, we have to celebrate it. We have to always be in our heads thinking like, what you just said, that was perfect, even if it's exactly the opposite thing you want. Because in life, you know, we spend so much of our time trying to control, you know, the past, the future, trying to get things to be a certain way. We're very, you know, results oriented. And in improv class, we're not results oriented. We try not to be. We try to be, you know, about systems or processes. And so when you're in a scene with another human being or doing an exercise, there's an exercise, a one word at a time exercise where you work with at least one other person, sometimes often more, but at least one other person. And you take turns speaking the words to build a sentence. So character A might say one, character B would say day, character A, I, character B, went, character A, two. And they go back and forth and you build a sentence or a story or whatever you're building, one word at a time, taking turns back and forth. Now, this is a great exercise to work with people. And what tends to happen is, you know, someone gets an idea in their head of like what they want to say, and they try to get their scene partner to say it. And they get very upset's too strong a word, but, you know, discouraged when it doesn't go the way they want. And this whole thing is about letting go, and just being, again, not okay with, but celebrating whatever stuff comes out of your scene partner's mouth. In my experience, people tend to come in two flavors. When they deal with their fear in certain situations, like an exercise like this one that I'm describing, there are those people who like to control their fear by controlling the situation. In COVID terms, those are the people that were saying, like, stay home, put on a mask, take your vaccine, all that stuff. And then there are people who like to abrogate responsibility, or put it on someone else. And in COVID terms, those are the people that were saying, like, it's not happening, it's not real, it's all planned, whatever. And people tend to react to fear in one of those two ways, either controlling it or pretending it's not happening and it's not as bad as everybody thinks it's going to be. Improv is the same. You see that happen on stage too with people. There are certain people who want to control. They're the writers. They're the ones who are like, okay, I'm this, you're that, and this is what's happening. And they control things that way. And then the other people who walk in and say, who are you? What's going on? I don't know. And they just abrogate their responsibility on other people. In this exercise, the way it works best, obviously, is when we both take control and we both have a certain responsibility for ourselves and for each other. But that's difficult because that's very different for people. It's very different than the way most of us have been raised, from school, parents, our cultures, whatever, to either be, one way or the other tends to be what happens. Either we're people pleasers, or we're like control freaks. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but we tend to be in one of those two camps. Tend to be. Improv lets you not be in the camp. And to be in a camp where sometimes you have to take control, sometimes you have to cede control, sometimes you work together. It's all in the moment. We have to make these decisions, so we get to role play this stuff. So what we want to do is control what you can control, like the Stoics say. God grant me the serenity to control what I can control, and notice and recognize the difference. I mean, I'm butchering that thing, but I think we've all heard it. I think it's at AA, where they have that saying, and it's very true. Like, you want to control what you can control and try not to sweat the rest. Easy to say, difficult to do, right? But that old thing of, like, you can't change what happens to you, only the way you react to it. And on improv, you get to work that, and you get to play that, and you go, okay, I'm going to control what I can control. I'm going to not control what's outside my control, my scene partners, and I'm just going to choose how I'm going to react to that. And I'm going to react like, excellent, you did a great job. You did a great job. And then internally, if you're like, I don't like this, then you find someone else to play with, right? You gotta play with people who play well. But it helps you develop a lot of flexibility, because I know I can play with people who are, the control people, and I can play with people who want to cede all control to me. I can do that, and I can, try to the people that want to take so much control, I can get them to, like, let go a little bit. And the people that, don't want to make any decisions, I can get them to make decisions, and you learn how to do that. And improv is a very safe way to get up on a stage or in a classroom. It doesn't have to be on a stage. It can be in a classroom with other people, and we're all doing the same things. So as nerve-wracking as that may sound, everyone does the same thing. And there's a lot of laughter. And, I've talked about laughter before. We'll talk about it again. And we do, at least in my classes, I shouldn't say all classes, but in my classes, and I think any good teacher would do this, try to get down to as low stakes as possible, right? It really, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the winning and losing part of it. It does matter because of how you're going to hopefully change your life, transform, become better. But anyway, yes. So that process of, like, celebrating whatever somebody else does is good. And the thing is there's so much freedom in there too, right? Like, you think, like, oh no, I don't want, how could there be freedom in there? Well, because you become kind of bulletproof in a way. Like, no matter what they do, you're going to be great and be fine. And of course, when things go well, like, that's easy. But when there's, like, left turns thrown at you, it's and you can roll with it, then you build skills, right? Oh, okay. I can handle this now. Something that I couldn't handle before, now I can handle. and everything's great. So that's one of the things you can do in improv is you can get up and you can role play certain skills. You can learn new skills, and you can do these with other human beings in a way that is safe, in a way that is, and I mean, in a safe place, right? Especially if you have a good teacher who can, head off trouble areas, because, it always happens. And that's certainly going to be a topic for a future podcast about uncomfortable situations or people who say uncomfortable things, whether it's sexual or whether it's maybe could be kind of racist or homophobic or these things. What happens when these things happen? We'll certainly talk about that, because it does happen occasionally, because we do encourage people to say whatever comes out of their mouth, right? Not to plan and just open it and let it come out. And sometimes people say things and in the moment they didn't realize it could be taken had a second meaning that was terrible. Anyway, so getting up on stage or getting in front of people in a classroom and acting out and role-playing things you can't do in real life. And so the first improv rule for life is control what you can control. You can't control your scene partner. Don't try. And if you can get to the point where you don't want to control them, in fact, you want to encourage them to be even more chaotic, that's great. You build so much skill doing that. You can handle anything. I can't remember the last time I got flustered. Anyway, so that's what I'm about. That's today's thing is control what you can control. Don't sweat the rest, and react to it in whatever way you want to react to it. And I encourage people to celebrate it. I thought that's great. You gave me something. It wasn't what I wanted, but we'll see where this thing goes, this rabbit hole. Anyway, my name has been Ralph. My name has been Ralph. My name is Ralph. It has been, and it continues to be. My name is Ralph McLeod. I am the owner, artistic director of SoCap Comedy Theater, socap.ca, the stupid good comedy show. I have a new podcast coming out called Deserts of Plenty. It is about making sense in this crazy, crazy world. We are awash in experiences, awash in dating opportunities, awash in calories, and awash in information. But everybody is lonely. Everybody is confused and doesn't facts are in short supply. We are all like eating a lot of calories, but no nutritional value. And there's so much information. We don't know what's right and what's wrong. So that podcast is about that and how to navigate through this crazy, crazy world, the seemingly crazy, crazy world. Anyway, Deserts of Plenty. Check that out wherever you get your podcasts, and have a great whatever you're doing. Have a great rest of it. Take care. Bye.